Right, moving on with this Philips BX750A. I have made some progress. Let me tell you what I've done so far, and I think we're about ready for the careful first power up. So, first thing was this capacitor here. This is across the mains. It's not a safety capacitor. That was the one that was leaking, so that's been replaced. The other thing was I moved the selector to 245 volts. We may have to move it back to 220 later, but we'll see what sort of voltages we get. Then I went through the entire circuit trying to check all these components, make sure that everything was fine. I had done the checking of the capacitor before and that was fine. And I basically wanted to see if we were getting voltages coming through. And I found an open resistor. This 1K resistor was completely open. So we would get voltage coming into or coming out of the 285. We would get that going into the output transformers and then back out of the output transformer over here, and it wouldn't get through to there. So that there is what really feeds practically the entire radio, so that wasn't getting B plus at all. So that's been replaced. That's a pretty beefy resistor. I'll show you in a sec. I replaced it with a 5 watt resistor. I've actually left the existing one there. As you'll see, it's got it's actually a very useful binding post now, but it is open, so I can just use it to connect the other one. And I think we are about ready. I've checked everything else. Everything seems to be, well, it's not lighting up any alarm bells yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to power it up slowly. Keep an eye on the current consumption and see if we get any sound out of this thing. There's the resistor that I replaced. The green one is the one that was burnt out. And I've added a 1.2K 5 watt in parallel with that, just using the connection points as basically as binding posts. There's no problem because the resistor is completely open. So that problem is solved. And I've put in the one output tube. This is the one that feeds the transformer, that's fine. The other one is without a tube, so we won't get anything out of that. Now, bear in mind that whatever sound we get out of this will be just from the bass channel, so it should be a little bit bassy, and I don't expect too much in terms of quality of sound. So let's get the show on the road. I've got the voltmeter across the B++. This is actually just after the 94 ohm resistor, so this thing should read 285 if I bypass all protection, which we're not going to do right now. Put the dim light tester on. I've got an antenna at the back, both an FM and an AM antenna, and I'm going to try medium wave. Let's see what the lamp does. The lamp is lit up and it's dimming, which is what it should be doing. Oh, this is on AC volts. That is our B+++. It should start rising. We have no smoke. The current draw on the dimmer or on the limiter is 100 milliamps. It's at 171 volts AC going in. B+++ is going up here, 160. It's behaving itself. I have the volume now on max. I don't actually hear any sound. Let's see. Very, very vague hum. No sound at all. Let me try shortwave. Tune it a bit. No sound. This is the external antenna selector, but it's doing nothing. Let me try long wave. Oh, I'm getting a click on the speaker, so something... Hear that? No sound. FM. Oh, dude, that's great news. FM. We have FM. Pretty dim. Let me try another lamp here. Okay. We've got something. Oh, that's brilliant. FM is actually very good. We've got FM. What about the others? Why not? Let me try this width thing. Broadening the band. Nothing. That's on medium wave. External antenna, nothing. Oh, long wave. Okay, long wave on external antenna gives us some noise. Ah. When you widen the band, the pass band, it actually becomes more noisy. So you're basically increasing sensitivity versus selectivity, which is what it's supposed to do. See, it goes right down. Put the volume up. That's down. Now I'm widening it. Let's try medium wave. Full volume. Nothing at all. Okay, well, so far I'm happy. We've only got 236 volts on here. I'm going to put another lamp on. 255, 258, 259. Nothing on medium wave. Noisy long wave with external antenna. Oh, I hear something on shortwave now. Very little, but it's there. I'm going to widen this as much as possible. That's as sensitive as possible. Try tune. We've got the right noises. There, it's gone. Let's try external antenna. I don't think it makes a difference on shortwave. It's something, there's something there, but it's very, very weak. Not a station, just the static. No, I'm not ready to put the voltage up to maximum just yet. I'll worry about the AM bands. I'm happy I've got FM. That's brilliant. So that's great news. That's great news. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go to my normal routine, which is get the power amp stage completely working. We've got audio. We have to do something about that transformer. So we can get full audio, but at least we've got something. We've got FM coming through, and we have no AM really. It could have to do with a lot of things. It could be some of the coupling capacitors that are dead. It could be the tubes that aren't working on that on the AM section. It could be something to do with the antenna circuit, which is pretty complex at the back there. I might have got the wrong one, but I'm not really worried now. I know we've got a working or viable radio here. I am going to continue with the power amp stage, as I said, and start doing all the painting job that I do on that schematic, so we can we can take this to the next step, which is get the full power amp stage working, and then I'll worry about the AM. It could be also that someone's fiddled with the IF transformers, but there's so many things it could be right now. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I do want to show you something else though. One of my pet hates with these radios is working on them when they're filthy. And so I spent some time doing a proper cleanup here. And I'm actually quite happy with the result. A lot of isopropylic alcohol, cotton swabs, blah, 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 all that stuff. Getting it right into all the little nooks and crannies over there. Cleaning the tubes, cleaning the contacts of the tubes, putting them in a few times with contact cleaner. And now I think I've got this radio mostly to the point where I can actually work on it and the cleaning job has been done, especially on the inside section. Also, these pulleys have all been cleaned and lubricated. This is quite a complex system of for the tuning. But when you clean it, it has the advantage of showing you how the thing works. So you start seeing some detail that you probably wouldn't see otherwise, and it does help a lot. And this one's certainly shown me a few things here. So now I'm ready to get onto the power amp stage, try and sort out something with that transformer. That's my next main criteria. Change coupling caps and decoupling caps, all those funny things they have on there, those tar covered things. Got to get rid of those. Get the whole audio circuit working. See if we get some more volume on this because it's very, very low. Even the FM is pretty low. So yeah, that's the next phase. This section of the work is actually a by the way job that I'm doing. Because in the process of cleaning, as I mentioned before, I did do a cleanup on the top there. I had not taken the front plate off. One of the things I've noticed is that the push button switches sometimes get stuck. And I figured it's probably got something to do with the mechanism that I couldn't get to, which is all this here. And I think I'm right. Look at the mess that's in here. So I had to get to that, and I had to the only way to do that is to remove the front cover. One thing I found that's unusual is that in removing the front cover, I found that the actual pots here are actually fixed to the front cover. This is the first time I've seen this on one of these radios. They're usually fixed to the chassis, and the front cover just has these holes in there. So this pot, as well as the other tone pot, they're actually fixed to the front cover. So you've got to be very careful when you remove it. And then you unscrew these guys over here. And this has got a pulley that controls the rotation of the antenna. So you've got to be careful when you remove that the wires and the strings don't get all unwound. Otherwise you create another problem. The other thing is this shaft, the volume pot shaft, is very long. So to get the actual cover out, you have to push all these buttons down simultaneously, unless you could take them out, and some of them don't come out, as you can see. I've taken a few of them out, but not all of them. So anyway, it's quite an exercise. You're going to push this all down, lift it up slowly, and remember, you got one shot at this. If you break that front cover or the faceplate, you create a real problem. Anyway, so we've got into this part of it, which needs a really serious cleanup and oiling, and hopefully then the switches will work well. I'll show you this when it's all put back together. I just wanted to give you an insight as to some of the household chores that we have to do when we do these restorations and repairs. I'm actually hoping that part of the problem with picking up the AM stations could be switching. And with the mess I see here and the problems I had trying to get the switches to actually make properly, you could hear a lot of crackle. That's usually a sign the switches are dirty or the mechanism isn't working properly. I think this is a combination of both. I'll also take the opportunity to clean the parts of the chassis that I was unable to reach when I cleaned it from above with the faceplate on. As you can see, it's not bad. There's a few spots here and there that need cleaning. You'll also notice that some of these capacitors have been changed. That is part of the job that I'm doing, trying to get everything back and ready to complete the audio amplifier stage. So those caps are on the volume control and the tone controls, and you can see 3 of them there that have been changed. Not all of it's been done yet, but I just wanted to give you this little snippet. All right, we carry on. Right, looks a bit different, doesn't it? All these have been cleaned, including the piano keys, everything lubricated. This was a real mess and it's come out pretty nicely. Now, time to look around, see if there's anything else I can do on this front before I put the faceplate on. And of course, I've got to clean the faceplate properly first. Right, so the faceplate is done. Everything came out beautifully, perfectly cleaned up. No scratches, no dings, no cracks, no nothing. The piano keys are now back in place and they're as clean as they're going to be. There's a little bit of staining on the bottom, but that's got to do with the fact that the top section has been exposed to light for much longer. That bottom section is hidden away in the chassis, but everything is cool. Now, the only thing outstanding are the knobs, the big knobs. And they came out pretty well. This was with a toothbrush, washing liquid, everything else. Leave it in there for a while and start polishing. But that is the cleaning part. Now we get to the polishing part. Now that is the way it should be. All the brass has been brought out, all the staining on the brass cleaned away, and as you can see, the difference is quite notable. I like this. I like this before and after crap. There we go. And the way to do that is actually using those little brushes that I made, the buffing things that I did a video on, which lets you use these things on a rotary tool like a Dremel for literally cents rather than quite a few bucks for a set if you buy the originals. So yeah, I'm happy. That's ready to go in. There is the result. 2 knobs on the left and then the 2 on the right working perfectly. Okay. So, having cleaned those switches, both on the outside and the inside, with contact cleaner and also with lubricant on this mechanical part, I'm curious to see if we've got any difference with the AM pickup. I think the result, or rather the problem, was actually based on not picking up, not switching properly. So we'll try it on now and see what we've got. So putting it on FM for a start, because we know we're getting that one, or we were. Yep. It's still there. Let's try a medium wave. What are we getting? Let's try the external antenna. Picking up something. You'd give it another lamp on there. I don't know if you can hear that. Volume's on max. This thing is just picking something up. switches are still a problem. Taking out the external antenna, using just the rotation, we're getting something. Yeah, it's gone again. Okay, let's see if we've got something on shortwave. I think we've got the same problem on shortwave. Picking up noise. I've obviously got to widen this as much as possible. That's to widen that variable IF can. Bingo, we got something. Yeah.
What is that? Oh wow, that's much more complex.
This is shortwave on, where are we? Just above the, what is that, 20 meters?
14 minutes. Stop the detector there.
30 of minutes.
Means 1 minute. So
Something in French, just below 16 meters.
like a language tip or something. I give you the...
This I think is Radio China in the English program. I want to show you what this thing does.
Okay, that would be...
It's fully open. Fully closed. Now I'm starting from fully closed and then I'm going to rotate it clockwise and watch this. See? So that is working. Just put it fully open. I haven't checked the IF alignments at all. Done a bit more cleaning on the back here since the faceplate was off. And looks like there's still some problems with the switching, but at least it's better and we've got something back. It's very low volume. It's still very low volume, even though we've only got one speaker. But what I have done, if you look at that, is I've taken the signal that was going to the grid of the second EL84, that is after the grid resistor, and I've connected that to the pin, the grid of this EL84 that is working. So basically we are summing the two signals. The base signals coming in on the right hand side, which would normally be amplified by the tube that's in place, and I'm taking the mid-range and high frequencies that would be amplified by the tube that's not in there, and summing them. Since we've got two resistors in between the signals and the grids, I'm summing them together to get the same signal going in and coming out of 1 amp. Now we've got basically half of the amplification working, but we should get more volume. It's pretty low. I'll have to see what's amiss. We've still got a lot of capacitors to do, but this is the part I wanted to really work on. And I've gone a bit further than I expected. I've got the AM sections working to a degree, which is great. So, all right, I'll report back when I have more news.